All right, today we're going to talk a little bit about gold versus Bitcoin. And we got Peter Schiff coming after Bitcoin a little bit, coming after the strategic Bitcoin reserve, making a little mockery of it. We're going to talk about the properties of gold versus the properties of Bitcoin. We're going to talk about strategy and articles that have come out recently that are praising strategy, but also articles that are not. And I'm going to debunk some of that we're seeing from these articles. And we're going to get into Tether's big buy of buying some additional Bitcoin and being one of the 6 largest holders of Bitcoin. So let's jump in right now and get in the game here. So April 1st, not an April Fool's joke. Saylor says today, don't be a fool, buy Bitcoin. And then he posts a photo of himself dressed like a jester. Jesters used to be the only ones who told the truth to the kings in the day. So Saylor had a nice little hat on today. It was pretty funny. We all know this is old news, but worth repeating. Saylor, company of strategy, buys 22,048 more Bitcoin, nearly 2 billion more spent, and they now hold over 528,000 Bitcoin, worth $44 billion. He's putting his money where his mouth is. The new news on the front today: Tether just buys 8,888 Bitcoin for $735 million. Strategy, Tether. Strategy's got over 500,000. Tether now has 92,000 Bitcoin, one of the top 6 richest Bitcoin wallets in the world. Saylor congratulated them on X today. So that's what's going on in the world of Bitcoin or strategy, I should say. And we're going to jump in a little bit here and talk about gold versus Bitcoin. So some interesting things coming from Peter Schiff. And of course, this is what happens in times when strategy starts to moon a little bit, Bitcoin starts to moon, and the race is on, and we get people who come in and talk a little bit of trash about Bitcoin. And this has been going on for years between Bitcoin and Peter Schiff. So not a surprise, but gold is outperforming Bitcoin right now this year, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So a recent article came out by a French research firm, and I think this is kind of interesting because it's very, very, very simple. And it's interesting how more and more people are catching on. But basically, they said that strategy stock has outpaced Bitcoin since 2020. And one of the reasons why they said is they sell stock to buy Bitcoin. Now, we all know this, and we've known this for a long time. Strategy issues common shares. They take the money, they buy Bitcoin. Not new news, right? Their shares gain more when Bitcoin rises, is what this French research firm said. Of course it does. We know that. Not news at all, right? And he says people pay extra for Bitcoin exposure via the stock. Well, they're not really paying extra for Bitcoin exposure via the stock. They could get Bitcoin exposure anywhere. So it's not like people are buying strategy just so they can get Bitcoin exposure. Yeah, you could say some institutions are doing that per se to get access to more Bitcoin, and they don't have to buy Bitcoin directly. But they could also, we also have ETFs today where people can go get access to Bitcoin without holding Bitcoin. So these are not new things that are coming down in the marketplace. We all know that strategy employs a strategy of leverage. And the fact that they have leverage is why their stock trades at a premium. It's very, very simple. The truth of it is rather than just using their money to buy Bitcoin, they leverage other people's money to buy Bitcoin. They issue stock. That's other people's money they get. They buy Bitcoin. They get loans from people called convertible notes. They use that money. They buy Bitcoin. They issued preferred stock recently. They get that money from institutions and whales and other bigger buyers, and they use that money to buy Bitcoin. Strategy pays at a strategy trades at a premium, and people are willing to pay more for the stock because of intelligent leverage, not just because they have Bitcoin exposure, because they have intelligent leverage. Anybody could go right now, and if they want a Bitcoin exposure without holding Bitcoin, go buy an ETF, right? So some of these articles are fascinatingly easy and simple, and they're just becoming aware of what strategy is doing. But we've been aware all along, and we are in the know and we are in the game. Okay. Another analyst comes in named Gus Gala, and he downgrades strategy. He says strategy is a sell. He said they can't raise more money. That's so not true. Okay. It's just not true. All right. Of their $42 billion plan, they've only used up about 21 billion of it. I don't know where this guy is getting his data. Same day he says that the stock goes up. So the stock's up today. And it's wrong what he's saying, because they have multiple ways they can raise more money. They can issue more stock. They can do preferred shares. They can do convertible notes. So the data is just not true. And if you're going to look at the data, look at the infrastructure of Bitcoin and all the things that are pointing in the direction of Bitcoin going up, which is the U.S. strategic reserve, which is more and more companies, adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet, which is countries buying into Bitcoin, which is the infrastructure being laid for banks and new laws to come into place to make the world crypto friendly. And banks now have access to Bitcoin and are friendly to Bitcoin and friendly to crypto. There's so many reasons why we see that Bitcoin is going to be going up in the future. And there's so many reasons why we see that Strategy is going to be able to raise more money to buy more Bitcoin. So I don't know where this guy's getting his data, but it's important when we look at data like that to go, you know what? The guy's got half the story, and maybe he wants to publish an article to get some headlines on this thing, but the data just ain't true, my man. And we're going to call it out here because that is not the facts of what's actually going on with Strategy. So that is an article that came out today as well. What else has come out? There was another guy, Bill Barted. I can't pronounce his last name. Not sure if that's correct. Early Bitcoin buyer, and there's a little debate on here, and I guess this is a spirited debate. We could all debate this. He says Saylor is making a $1.5 billion mistake. Saylor plans to lock up 17,000 Bitcoin in an unsendable wallet forever. So if you watched my show the other day, I showed you an article where Saylor plans to burn his Bitcoin keys. He's been saying this for a little while anyway, and it's his gift back to the Bitcoin network. This guy, Bill Barted, says use the money to help people with schools and crypto banks. And so more people have access to the money, that he shouldn't burn it. But Saylor says it's a gift. It reduces supply and it makes Bitcoin more rare. So it's a little bit of a debate. Should his coins be burnt, and should he get rid of them forever? Or should he use them for other causes like this guy's saying? I actually side with Saylor, not just because I typically side with Saylor. I just think that if he burns the Bitcoin key that he holds it on, so if he burns his keys, I just think at the end of the day, it does make the network more valuable. If he gifts it away, anybody could take the Bitcoin and they could spend it, they could use it, they could do things with it. But if he burns it, then everybody else who owns Bitcoin in the world, their Bitcoin becomes more valuable. And I think the Bitcoin network rises as a result, and the Bitcoin network gets more valuable. So I see why Saylor is doing it, because he's more interested in the network. And if the network's strong enough, then Bitcoin becomes more valuable. Everybody who holds it becomes more valuable. Countries get richer, countries get wealthier, and we get out of this situation of debt to where we can build better schools, we can help people more, and we can do more good. So I think we'll do more good by him burning his keys, and the network gets stronger, than we will by him not burning his keys. So I'm with you on that, Saylor. Peter Schiff, always a character. He mocked the U.S. Bitcoin Reserve. He created his own fake Bitcoin reserve and worth like $5,000. He says Bitcoin is crashing and gold is winning. But let's break down the data, okay? Bitcoin versus gold, the facts. Last 4 years, Bitcoin's done 83.9%. Gold has done 56%. So Bitcoin's won over the last 4 years. Last 8 years, Bitcoin's done 7,700%. Gold's done 111%. But this year, point goes to scoreboard Schiff on this one. Gold is up 13.7% and Bitcoin is down 10.2%. So what do you think in the comment box? Do you think that gold is better than Bitcoin? Do you think Schiff is right? Do you think he has a point on this? Or do you actually think that Bitcoin is better than gold and that Strategy is a better hold? Not financial advice, not tax advice, not legal advice, right? So here's some of the flaws I see in gold and why I believe Bitcoin's better, okay? Anywhere from 1.5% to 2% more gold is mined every year. So if you look at that and you did the math on the time value of money, you'd see over 50 to 100 years gold supply will double. So their supply will go up. And we know as the supply of something goes up, the thing you hold becomes less valuable. So that means your gold becomes less rare. And, people are mining more and more Bitcoin, mining more and more gold every single year. And so the supply is going up every single year. So gold will lose value over time as a result of that. more so than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, you're not mining more Bitcoin every year in comparison to how you're mining gold. Gold, we can just mine and mine and mine and mine, and Bitcoin eventually runs out because there's only 21 million, and we don't know how much gold is here on the planet. So in that case, Bitcoin is more scarce, it is more rare, and it has a fixed supply, and gold doesn't. So over time, Bitcoin becomes more rare and it becomes more valuable. The other reason is, when you look at Bitcoin, why it beats gold is it's portable. So you can send it anywhere in seconds. It's divisible. You can buy $1 or $100,000. It's transparent. So every transaction that's ever made is on the blockchain and it's public. It's scarce. The supply goes down over time versus gold. The supply is continuing to be mined and it goes up. So if we mine more every year, gold goes up. And gold is it's heavy, right? Carry that stuff around. It's hard to divide, and it keeps getting less rare as you mine more gold. So that's that. So what are your thoughts in the chat box, in the comment box? Let me know what you think. What do you think about Strategy's playbook and where they're headed? Some of these articles coming out, I think they're just not based on a lot of data. And it's interesting how, as you see a stock rising, there will always be people coming to attack it. Also with Bitcoin, we've been seeing it trade sideways for a while now and even trade down. And so it's easy to come in right now and champion gold because gold is up. That's the facts. But if you look at the properties long term and you look at what you hold with Bitcoin or MicroStrategy, and you look at the properties, in particular Bitcoin over time, in my opinion, and staring at the data, I don't think there's any comparison. I think that we have a far more superior asset with Bitcoin compared to gold. And let's just think about the technological revolution that we're in. Technology is only going to get bigger and better and faster, and having the speed to send money across networks is powerful. And so I just don't think we're slowing down with what we're doing. So leave your thoughts in the comment box below. Hope this serves you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.